All right, guys, let's get into it. I've seen a lot of posts going on Facebook, Instagram. Everybody's talking about the heightened T word. I'm not talking about Trump, guys. I'm talking about tariffs, okay? So tariffs have been associated with increased costs to specifically our industry, screen printing, embroidery, the print world in general. These are things that a lot of people are trying to consider and trying to speculate what's going to happen. So here's the things that we need to know about what tariffs are, right? What is a tariff? So a tariff is basically a fee or a tax imposed on a different government and or country. So say we're the USA, we set the market and we say if we're going to ship things in from China into the United States, we impose a fee, okay? So they want our money and they want to do business, and that's the cost of doing business with the superpower. You have to pay. We hold the leverage. So China might have a 20% VAT tax or just in general a tariff to import inside the United States. So we may charge them 20% on the good. So what happens is you buy from China at say $5 and then it ships to the US, goes to customs, and then they say, hey, look, you got to pay your 20% tax before we let it enter, okay? So sometimes you have a third party that mitigates this for you and pays it, and then you pay them on the back end, but you have to pay that amount. So say if it's $5, it may be, $7. It may be whatever that tariff is going to be. So it has an increased cost of doing business. Okay, so this is nothing new. This has been something that has been around for a long time. So the question is, now that we talk about tariffs and increase of tariffs, right? So Trump's administration has talked about doing increase of tariff. Why? Because we're trying to finance things. So how do you finance things? You have to generate revenue. So generating revenue based off of another country wanting to do business with you is one way of doing it. So say China is trying to produce cars out of Mexico and ship them into the United States because it is cheaper to ship from Mexico versus it is from China. We charge them more money, so that increases basically the amount of money we make from China for these said goods that they're trying to sell at a cheaper rate and basically put American companies out of business. So this kind of levels the playing field if you think of it in another sense. Okay, so another instance of it is, USA typically costs more to produce something, right? We pay our workers more, we don't have slave labor, etc. So if we increase the cost of foreign goods coming in, we now make USA goods almost equal or slightly more expensive, where people might actually say, hey, you know what? I want to support the USA economy. I'm going to go ahead and spend that money with the USA versus spending with China and maybe getting a 5% discount. They feel better, maybe supporting American jobs and not having, small hands build their stuff. So that's kind of one thing of where this tariff stuff is going. I see a lot of things in this industry where everybody's freaking out with the cost of goods. We buy some blanks and stuff from China, Bangladesh, other places, and those blank costs could go up, right? So there's a couple ways of looking at this. The cost of goods can go up, and if they do go up, what do we do? It's not the end of the world. If you keep your prices where they're at, your ass is going out of business. Straight up, point blank, you're going out of business. You have to increase your prices each year. So I live in Florida, right? So Florida has decided, for whatever reason, to make minimum wage $15 an hour because they say, hey, people need to be paid more. Well, everything is relative. If one thing goes up, all the other things go up. So as a business, what do? If I have to pay you more by 2026 and it's $15 an hour and it goes up $1 each year until we reach that, my prices are going up 12 to 15% just to meet that dollar increase to the customer. So you're paying it. Now the caveat side to that is now the person making $15 an hour is making more money than they did. They're giving more money to the government in taxes, so they're getting a free loan. So this is basically a big scam. And also all the prices of everything is going up if people are actually doing smart business, right? To absorb that cost. Now the other bad side is with people on that end is if you increase their wages and they go above that $23,000, $26,000 range, which it will bump a lot of people out of that bracket, they're not going to get free money or government handheld assistance, and they're going to get screwed out of that. So the government's basically giving you to you on that. So it's kind of interesting. But again, that's one aspect to it. With the tariff thing going on, a lot of people are saying, is the cost of increased goods going to cost us a lot of money? It is. And the short sight, it is going to cost more money. Will you bring in more revenue and your numbers are going to probably look higher because you're charging more? Yeah, you probably will get a 25% increase in sales because of the price increases if you're smart. And that's going to happen. So the biggest thing is to take away with this is Tariffs may be coming. We do not know exactly what they are. So don't freak out. And if you do want to freak out, the marketing move is tell your customers, hey, there's tariffs coming. We don't know, there may be an increase. Those jobs that you're kind of, holding out on, maybe this is the time to purchase because we don't know if that's going to cost you 20% more next year. And thing is too, it's end of the year. Get your fiscal write-offs, man. I mean, these people dragging their feet at the end of the year makes no sense. If your accountant says, hey, you need to spend the damn money, spend the money. Get the shit now. Don't wait until next year and go into a deficit because you're buying stuff that you should have bought throughout the other year. Okay? So, I mean, these are things you can do. And this isn't legal advice or, I'm not an accountant, but this is just things that I've seen, through my own business and being in the industry. So when it comes to tariffs, we don't know what it is. He may tariff just cars. It could be electronics. It may be a specific niche. It may be a blanket tariff. 10% increase to China supposedly is one blanket statement I've seen, and then a 25% to Canada and a 25% to Mexico. That's what we've heard in the news. Until it's on paper and till it's doctrine and it's fact, we have no idea. So stop speculating and stop freaking out. And you got to think about this too. Other people don't realize this with tariffs, right? They go, oh my gosh, he's putting these tariffs in place. Guess who did it 4 years ago? And guess who kept it in for the past 4 years? Because it fucking works, right? So the tariffs have already been there, guys. There may be an increase of tariff, which could be significant when they're added on. If it's in 25% increments, it could be a 50% tariff to Mexico and Canada, right? So it's possible. Even same thing with 10% added on to China. It's going to be there. We need China for some stuff. We need Taiwan for chips. It's going to happen. We have to do business with them. We can't make it completely unreasonable, but we have to accomplish a goal with tariffs. And the goal is to basically shift the money towards the USA and or make money to finance something we're trying to do. So if we're trying to fight the fentanyl fight, we're trying to deport people that came in here illegally, we need money to do that, and this is one way to do it. So what could happen is once we achieve what we're looking for, USA businesses start to come back because they're feeling the pressure, then the tariffs may actually lift. So these are just, food for thought, guys. I mean, this is not, it's simple economics. Like everybody's freaking out about this stuff. And the reality is everything's going to keep going. The only way it's not going to keep going is if you don't raise your prices. So if you're trying to be the guy who's trying to, ask people for the pricing sheets and price everything based off of somebody else's price or the cricket mom, printing DTF and doing this and that, you're going to lose all day. If you do not know what your cost is, you have no idea what your profit is, and you're not a real business. So stay tuned for more tips. Real blunt honesty, no bullshit. That's what it is, guys. So hopefully that helps out with a little bit of what's going on with this and maybe give you something to think upon and try to strategize your business strategies going forward. But stay tuned. We're going to do some more kind of snippets on things that are, hot topics going on. Appreciate you guys. Arnold Prints if you need anything. Stay well, stay blessed. Happy Thanksgiving, guys.